To the call. Before we get started, there's just a couple few housekeeping issues. You're going to start to see the name of our whole group slowly changed from Land Academy to Land Investors. Jill and I are making a bunch of changes that Jill will update us on a little bit later in the program. We've also changed from a meeting format on Zoom to a webinar format, which is a lot more. I think it's a lot more conducive to the style of to what we're doing here. So please, I know you're used to asking questions in the chat area. Now you can type a Q&A up in the same box where the chat box is. And it's just a little bit more organized about how we take the calls. And then if you really want to plug in your mic and raise your hand, as a viewer, I'm happy to call on you like we're in grade school, and you can blurt it out.
I think this is cool because this is a good setup. Our chat is for chat, and then our Q&A is for Q&A, because it was hard sometimes with the old format where I would, and Jack and I are reading these questions. It's hard to kind of say, all right, because I see little side comments going on, so we could still have our little side comments.
Yeah.
And then now we can have the big questions. So please go ahead, use that Q&A. If you can find it along the bottom, you should see a Q&A, or along the top, however it's set up there, where you can just type in your questions.
Yeah.
And then Jack and I will answer them. So.
Hey, I love the way this whole thing starts off. Gene and I, so Gene on the top there, he used the chat box, by the way.
I saw that. Perfect.
And that's fine. It's
fine. That was perfect because that was
because it's a chat.
A comment.
Yeah, Jill, it's not a question. Exactly. That's how it's supposed to go.
Did it correctly.
Go ahead and read that, Jill, if you want. I have a lot of comments.
Sure. Jean said, we spoke yesterday, checked my P.O. box today, and had 2 more accepted offers. Isn't that nice? You open those up, you're like, holy cow, it works. Use that site that you gave me. I think I have an idea what that is. So very helpful in a county like the one I'm doing, where not a lot is online. I just wanted to thank you for that and all your help yesterday.
Awesome.
Oh, cool.
I'm checking to see if our IT staff is on this call, because I gave out the URL to our beta spatial mapping tool that we're going to release, and I wasn't supposed to.
Yeah, I'm
okay.
Sure of that. I knew that. I'm like, So yeah, because I know there's stuff, other things, other reasons why.
Yeah.
So got it. Cool.
Anyway.
I'm answering I'm answering Kathleen's question in the question box.
Oh, good.
So this is good. Hopefully you guys can all see that. You can see and this is good for us because Jack and I can really, how it is, we're going along and we get on sidetracked, and we want to make sure that we're answering your questions. So this really helps us differentiate and make sure we don't miss anyone, because you guys have such great stuff to share. So while we're waiting for some questions to pop in, should we talk about what we did earlier today?
Yes, please.
Okay. So we recorded a show with Joel Spurney, who is in Japan, and I'm sure he's on this call because he, bless his heart, gets up, has a crazy schedule and still makes it on our call, which I love. So we recorded the show. Yep, there he is. I see him.
I asked him to have his mic ready too, so you can go for it, Joe. We
can call on Joel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Joel? Yeah, I was going to say hi here with everybody. That was so much fun talking to him. Joel's been with us for like going on 1.5 years, and just had nothing but good experience and great stuff to share. And he's kind of been a money guy, it sounds like, for some of our people. So we tell you, it's there. Oh, hey.
Live from Northern Japan, Joel is on the line.
Cool.
How's it going, everybody?
Good. Tell us how you do this from another country, Joel. We're all pretty mesmerized, and we are going. I'm working on fixing this chat for everyone, by the way.
I forgot to mention on the call or on the podcast that my mom actually gets my post office box back in the States. So about once a week, I'll get an email or some pictures from her of the new signed agreements that come down. So yeah, it's just you can do most everything online. They have a good internet connection over here in Japan too. So Not that hard to figure this out, people.
I love it. Oh, that's so good. So cool. So that was so fun. Thank you so much, and thank you for staying late. And because I know you're supposed to you got a job that you got to get to. Everybody's going home, and you're going to work.
Like, what time is it now, Joel?
7:07 in the morning right now. I already ate breakfast, and the kids are getting up. The wife's yelling at the kids to get ready to get out the door to go to school. It's Friday morning here, though, so we're in the future.
I love it. And I saw it's 31. When we were talking a little while ago, I looked up your weather. It was like 31 and snowing.
Yeah. It's not snowing right now. The sun's actually coming out, but
good.
But there is still snow on the ground.
Got it.
Not like sunny California or heated Arizona.
I don't know if we told you that, Joel, and for everybody here. So Jack's in California right now, and I'm here in Scottsdale right now. I'm checking on some things with our office here. So
that's the reverse of the intended process, I bet.
That's exactly what it is.
That's not how this is supposed to be.
Right.
But it's okay. All good. Cool. Well, that was fun. Thank you again for doing that.
Yeah, no worries.
Hey, if you can do it from Japan, anybody can do it from here.
Yeah, definitely. It's not a problem here.
Awesome. Thanks, Joel. Thanks again.
Yeah.
All right.
Have a great day.
You too.
All right. Jack's going to see if he can do the chat thing so you guys can all chat. And I'm going to jump in on some of the questions here. Does that sound good?
Yes.
Okay. Hello, Savannah.
I think that turned it on. I'm sorry, Joel, I don't mean to interrupt you, but the chat box should, I think, be turned on now.
Okay. So we'll see if these are, see if you guys are able to do it. All right. So Savannah wrote, I sent a 1,000-unit mailer to a county in Washington and have received interest from 3 sellers, all within the same area, within a mile of each other. Everyone else has, how do you say that word? I don't know what you, vehemently refused. Should I be suspicious of my 3 sellers' incentives to sell? I wouldn't. I'd say, cool. That's great. So.
Well, I'm suspicious of everything, first of all.
Oh, you are. That's actually that's true.
But no, I think that it sounds to me like you sent out a mailer that was well thought out and priced properly.
Mm-hmm.
And you caught there were 3 fish in one spot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that doesn't worry me at all. I like it. That doesn't, because you know what? Maybe that's just a really good area. Maybe there's not a lot available. That's my thought. I wonder too, Savannah, if there's not a lot of property for sale in that area and you just happen to smoke out 3, that's great. I think that's wonderful.
And keep that under your hat because where there's 3, there's 30, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe scoop up and do a different size. You're right. I think that's awesome. Okay, Luke asked, got a seller selling numerous properties from his company. One of them he deeded over to someone, but he deeded it from his personal name to another guy, not his company. The company still has the land in the seller's company's name. Can I sell it? Should I sell it? So my question is, I'm thinking, Luke, one of 29 properties in the deal. Did he accidentally, because Lord knows we've done this, is he accidentally put it in the wrong name? Like he deeded it from his name instead of the company name? So if you can follow up, I'm curious. Because if he did, say it's supposed to be, Wilson Company or something like that, and he accidentally put it in the name of his name, John Wilson.
Yeah.
And then as the grantor, then it's not going to go through because he's got to circle back. It will get caught eventually by the assessor. He's got to go back and redo it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot now. This question raises 6 questions. What's really going on and why? And Jill's right. You have to. Who's the true vesting grantor?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And whoever that is, if they have obviously have the power to convey the property, then you're all set.
Yeah. Okay. So look at it. He bought it at a tax auction in his company's name. Okay. So then he needs to keep it in the company's name in order for it to happen, in order for it to all go through. So good. That's a good question though.
Yeah.
You have to think about, because we have stuff in our company's names, and just because I'm the managing member of my company does not mean that I can just say, I'll pick one. I'll put my name, I'll put my company name on here. It doesn't matter. It's all the same. Actually, it's not.
Yeah.
When it gets to the assessor, they're going to go, yeah, this isn't right. It has to match.
Yep.
And this is what we say to that. I've had people that your name was misspelled. You know what? I'm going to misspell their name again just so it matches the deed exactly. And then, because then it's going to go through just fine.
Exactly, Jill.
So,
We're agreeing too much today.
Oh my gosh. What just happened?
Wow.
All right. Jason asked, I have an accepted offer on a property. When looking on Google Earth and other aerial maps, the property, we've had this too, the property has junk, trash, and possibly a shed. We've had tires, it's hilarious, from a neighboring property. The property is 5 acres, and the junk is at least 100 feet across the property lines. Would you pass or use it as leverage to get the property cheaper?
Well, I know we had Jill's answer there.
Oh, you go first, Jack.
I have this opinion, and this comes up once in a while. I think anything that's going on the property is an improvement. And it makes it more sellable, except stuff that the EPA would disagree with. If there's oil dumping or anything that could be construed as an EPA hazard, that concerns me a lot. But if there's a shed or an old car or anything like that, I think that makes it a little bit more interesting. And I know that that's ironic, not ironic, but it's not. It's a little bit contradictory. But at least it's got access if somebody's dumping stuff.
Oh my God. Wow. That sounds like something I would come up with.
It really does.
I am so impressed. You just turned that into a positive, like, well, obviously you can get there easily. That's great. That is so funny.
We've been in different states for 2 days, Jill, and I start to answer stuff like you now because I miss you.
Oh, that's so
That's
sweet.
what it is.
Thank you. I'm sure that's not true, but thank you.
So how would you answer this?
So, it's not, I wouldn't run from it at all. It's not like it's not a big deal. If I have to have someone, haul stuff away, so what? And, there's times that if I have to have someone, and I've told people that's why it's priced this way. I'm still way under everybody else, and it's got a great view. So what? You got to haul some stuff away.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal.
By the way, check the date on those satellite images, especially on Google Earth. Sometimes they're in the 90s. So you want to make sure that they're reasonably recent. And if you're like Jill, call the person that's got a business that's closest to the property and have them walk out there and see if the stuff's still there.
Oh my gosh, I have totally done that.
Remember that?
True. Mm-hmm. It was a piece of property across like a river. And I was like, Can you look across the river? It was a lumber yard across the river, and it was the funniest thing. It was so that's actually not crazy. That's a good point. Thank you, Jack.
Mm-hmm.
It could be a whole different story now. All right. Stephen asks, hi, Jack and Jill. A couple of the podcasts this week, you guys talk about using the tax ID to help you make offers. I know where he's going with this. Was there a special call or video where Jack describes in detail how to do this? We did this in person.
Yeah. It's not tax ID. It's assessor's parcel number. And like many times, I start out with good intentions, and I confuse the heck out of everybody. So I will put something together like this in short order. But what he's referring to is an index map where you really can get micro accurate, in my opinion, on how you offer property, the prices that you offer property in just about in any county in the country. So it's not so much tax ID. Well, I guess it is tax ID. That's just another way to say assessor's parcel number. So do I have a video on it? No, I will. It's on my list, my very, very long to-do list, but it will get done.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? This is a good time to bring this up, Jill. I don't even know if you know this. Seth Williams, he was on the show, the call last week, had a very long talk this morning, and he and I both decided that we're pretty much, all three of us, he and I and Jill, are better together. So we're working out how we can work together with Seth more closely and have him get involved in our products, and he's just a hell of a writer. And I guess we're better talkers, Jill, on the podcast than we are writers, because that's just how it seems to go between him and us. So
Mm-hmm.
he's very familiar with pricing things this way. So I'm going to ask him to see if he wants to do a detailed blog about this.
That's a good idea. That's actually a great idea. Yeah, I'll share it here too to this group that he's officially in. I've got him
officially.
I've got him in for our big event. I'll tell you guys now, I'm looking at November, I think it's the 3rd through the 5th. So I haven't finalized the date yet. I should have that finalized by the end of March. But Seth Williams will be showing up, and we'll have CoreLogic doing some training, RealQuest Pro training. They're committed. This is going to be a fly to Los Angeles worthy event. So I'm looking at Friday through Sunday that weekend. So we can kind of put that on your calendars.
November 3rd, Jill?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Why, do you have plans?
No, that's just it's a ton of time to plan. And that's, for me personally, that's good. I can put something together that's worth listening to.
Mm-hmm. So hopefully. Just kidding. Yeah. Or we can do it like we did the other time. I just kind of said, here's the agenda and stand here.
Mm-hmm.
Just kidding. Hey, we have 2 people that raised their hand. Jack, you want to, should we listen to those people real quick? Okay.
This is my first time doing this, so.
Who are we going to call on first so they're kind of ready?
This is my first time doing this, so I'm trying to just figure it out. ITY. Oh, here we go.
Okay.
Pat.
All right, Pat. Hope you have a mic ready.
I am unmuting you now, Pat. Let's hear it. Hi, Pat.
It takes it. Maybe take.
Hello, Pat.
Hey, Pat, are you there? I think I hear.
It's like a real radio show. I'm going to mute this person and go back to the next person.
Okay.
Who is
Ron
Mayfield 38.
Ron Mayfield.
Promoting you to panelist. Ron. You're on, Ron.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really, really faint, but
I didn't intentionally raise my hand. I just got home and tried to walk in, so I don't know what I did.
So do you have a question since we're all listening to you?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Well, thanks for being here. I love it.
I have a bunch of questions about that I'm not going to ask right now.
I love it. All right.
Chip's raising his hand. We're going to try it again. Maybe the 3rd time's a charm.
Okay.
Chip, I am unmuting you now.
Hey, Jack and Joe, how are you?
Fine. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for taking the question. I'm driving, so it's kind of hard to chat in the little box there. But basically, I'm planning on sending some mailers out to some large acreage tracts that I know I don't have the funds to close on. So I want to option them and flip them to somebody else. In your experience, is it better to write the contract, as me as the buyer, or assigned after my company's name, or does it really matter?
Julie, you want to answer that question? I just turned your mic on.
Oh, thank you. So you're just what do you put in your name, Chip, or your company's name? Because you might.
Well, the plan is to get the property in contract and flip it to another end buyer with a very large, hundreds of acres.
Yep. I don't think it matters at all.
No, I think it's a great plan. If you're going to do 1 or 2 or 5 large deals like that, no, it's a fantastic plan. I mean, Joel, we recorded a podcast today with Joel. I turn your mic off, Joel, if you want to pipe in at any time here. And he did. He started out in this group during his learning phase by giving cash to a bunch of money to another already successful member, getting a pretty healthy return on his thing. So, yeah, the fact that if it's a great deal, someone's going to buy it, but you have to market it just like you would a regular, acquisition.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's a great idea. Yeah, I don't think it matters at all, Chip, because you know what? At the end of the day, when they accept your offer, they don't even care whose name is on the check. They're just happy to get paid.
Yeah.
basically. They accept it. They're not even going to look at it. So, because we've sent out offers in one company name, even some of our old offers that are out there are from an old entity that we don't use that much. So the new entity will on the deed, and I don't even explain it. They don't even notice. The deed shows up, they sign it, and it's all good.
Yeah.
So great question.
We are, if you weren't on the call last week, there's several products that we're releasing. One of them is called landcrowdfund.com for this exact situation, where you would send a bunch of letters out, or somebody in this group would send a bunch of letters out, get 2 or 3 or 4 really fantastic deals under contract that and we're not horsing around. We all can do this. We just need to make sure they're extraordinary deals, because tons of money people are contacting us through different channels wanting to invest. They just don't want to do the work. So, and we're here because we want to do the work. So this is a perfect deal where you would post that just like that and see what happened.
Exactly.
Nothing to lose.
Cool. Awesome. All right, I'm going to jump in on the questions here. Thank you. That was awesome. All right, Jordan asked, not that I'm personally at this point yet, but I have a question about the issue of cash sales versus seller financing. Rather than do one or the other, does anyone combine the two? Heck yeah. And create a note, and then after some seasoning, which I believe is usually required, sell that note for cash. Yeah. You want to answer that, Jack?
Yeah, I've done this many, many, many times. Here's the economics and the reality of it. If you know anything about notes, the longer and more mature that the note has performed, the lower the discount that you have to swallow, so the more you can sell it for. But it's always going to be under face value. So you have to weigh that in and weigh that out. And then vacant land on top of that, most note guys are used to funding properties that are cash flowing, or their houses or their apartments, buildings and stuff. So if you find a note guy who understands land and wants notes, private notes that you create, that we're all creating notes here, then yeah, it can work really well. I had a guy contact me out of the blue to purchase a note. It's a long story, but I had a bunch of property right by the Grand Canyon, and I sold a ton of it on terms to a guy that owned a helicopter like sightseeing thing, and he wanted to fly to the one side of the canyon and land on the other side. And so he was paying me terms on it for a while, for more than a year. And the note guy contacted me, and we did a great deal. I mean, I cashed out of that really well. So yes, the answer is heck yes. It's a little bit more difficult than it seems like on the internet, only because of the nature of the land, the product type that we deal in.
I'd like you to flip. I mean, when you're getting going though, I mean, the easiest thing as you're really learning this process is flip them for cash. Get those few under your belt and build up your bank account, which is kind of nice too. Have some nice chunks of cash coming in. I love that. And then start, making some different decisions.
Right.
Is what I think is the best. So
Jill, I love this new answer Q&A. We answered it thing.
I'm loving it too. So thank you for that. So it's awesome. All right. So Boomer asked, talking to a wife, I guess not his own wife. I just had to look at that for a second.
Don't do that.
Yeah. Talking to a wife.
Do not talk to a wife today.
Yeah, don't. Yeah. Whoops. Boomer mistake number 1. Just kidding. Just kidding. You guys, so funny. All right. Talking to a wife who wants to sell her property, but the husband is the only name on the deed. There's our second problem. Oh no. Oh, okay. I've had this too. He is deceased, but he did leave the property to her in his will. Okay. Will she still have to go through an attorney to get her name on the deed, or is it possible for the county to help her out without an attorney since it was left to her? So it depends on the county. Jack?
It depends on the county, and the first place you want to start is the county recorder. If the county recorder is having a great day that day, they very well might just say, send it in, it's fine. Or hopefully they'll say some version of that is a little more legal. So these types of questions about deceased all come back to how it's titled. So if it's titled as man and wife, if it's titled as joint tenants with rights of survivorship, JTROS. If you want success plan, I have a chart on one of the side graphic on that, and you can expand it. And it's, I think, one of the large title companies put it together. that explains how you take title and what it's all about. So it's all how they take title. If they take it in joint tenants, and if 10 people do a deed in joint tenants and 9 of them are dead, and one person then that last person can sign for all of it, and it's completely and totally above board and accepted. Jill and I deed property in joint tenants regardless of marital stature or non-marital stature, or if it's 2 LLCs, we do it as joint tenants without even asking, because it's so easy to undo when something happens to one of the parties.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of like we're doing them a favor in advance and they don't even know it.
Yeah.
So, because that would make it easy. Yeah, because
this whole man. I'm sorry, Jill, but this whole man and wife and single or individual, that's all 1950s barefoot and pregnant. Stay in the kitchen ridiculousness.
I know.
It's all joint tenants now.
Mm-hmm.
How's that for politically incorrect?
Oh my gosh. Because there's a couple ways to do this too, because depending how the deed is written, Boomer, and the best would be, check the county. Because if it's JTROS, like we're talking about, the joint tenants with rights of survivorship, then that with a death certificate, and the county will often what the county will ask for, that you send them in and they'll record them and they'll send you back everything, including that original death certificate, which I then return to the person. So that's one way. And then other times, this is just because they're different. These are just some scenarios. Other times I've done it with having the will in my hand. And then I'm one of those that I'm better safe than sorry, that I just send it in to be recorded at the same time anyway. But sometimes you don't have to do that. But I at least always want to have a copy of that in my possession. Should it ever come back to me, I can prove that I had that. So, but just kind of some things that you'll when you go to the county, you'll find out. So
exactly.
Awesome.
Always start with the county though. On almost all of this stuff can be explained, or they will direct you to somebody who can explain it that's real local there.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm going to answer these next 3 things here real quick.
Yeah.
Because Luke from the earlier one had weighed in on it, and this is exactly what I was saying, Luke. He said later on, years later and years ago, he deeded to someone else from his personal name. Got it. The assessor said this is not right, but still recorded. Correct, because the recorder's job is to record, not to double check anything. Their job is for you to hand them a paper, they stamp it, they record it, they hand it back. Their job is not to check it. That's when it gets to the assessor, and the assessor goes, yeah, that's nice. This doesn't count. And that's what he said right there. The assessor says the company owns the land. So that's correct. It's still in the company's name. It's really, even though it was recorded, Jack and I, like I was saying, I could have something done and recorded in the wrong name, and it never legally really goes through. So that's all correct.
Luke, when a situation is like this where whether it's intentional or not,
Mm-hmm.
I would close with title, because I think it's multiple units in an LLC. So it's probably, if it passes Luke's test economically, he can afford, title now. Jill and I are we're working down the path to provide a preliminary title insurance policy on any property in the country for around $300 to $300, and that would smoke all this stuff out. So it's not like it even was 4 or 5 years ago where title costs $800 or $900. It's much, much cheaper with the internet to get a title policy, or at least a preliminary report, and to smoke all this stuff out and not leave it to chance, especially if it's multiple units.
Mm-hmm. Hey, can we take Tom Dieter's call?
Heck yes. You're paying more attention to this stuff than I am.
Thank you.
As usual.
I am attention to detail, Jill.
Hello.
Hey, Tom.
Oh, wait.
Oh.
Okay, Tom, go. Good.
Hey guys.
Hey.
Nice to talk to you. How you been?
Nice microphone.
Thank you. Great.
Oh, it sounds good. Okay.
Yeah.
So my question is kind of about, I have 2 really odd properties that I just acquired, and I was just want to get some feedback on what you guys think would be a good way to market them. One is about 1/4 acre, and it's an island in the middle of a lake, and the rest of the property around that 1/4 acre, the 1/4 acre is right in the middle. The rest of the property around it it's about a 3 acre, 4 acre island. owned by the government. It's not owned by anyone. So it's kind of like this little piece in the middle of an island. So as far as marketing that, there are any issues? Because technically there's no access because you have to walk across public land to get to this quarter acre.
Pick me.
Jill, yeah, Jill loves these deals. Go ahead, because we've done a couple of these. Few.
Oh my gosh, I totally love this. And I had a good one. I had one just like this where it was in either Oregon or Washington, and it was tricky because it was hard to tell if there really was a bridge there or not. It almost looked like you had to take a boat to get across. And then I'm hearing rumors that half of the year it flooded, so it would be up on the person's property. But you know what? You spell it all out. It was a camper fisher guy that wanted a little getaway, and that was his dream. So for somebody, that's their dream. I could almost say I own an island because the government owns the other half, and they're never going to use it. So I think that's fantastic. And you just have to spell it all out. So
do you know what part of the government owns the other property? Is it the BLM, Bureau of Land Management?
No. Well, you know what? I haven't looked into it enough to know. I saw U.S. government, and then I kind of stopped there. I just thought, okay, that's public land.
So the BLM is structured in regional and local offices all over the country. And if it's west, there's a lot of them. There's a ton of offices out here. So because there's more government land west of the Mississippi, and it's very feasible, although it takes a long time, it's very simple and feasible to apply to permanent access or leased access, let's say 100 years from the BLM, so that you can get access from the government. It has to go through a red tape process, but there's another member that I've done a lot of calls with who's accomplished this.
Yeah, be worth looking into. So,
I've never done it.
The other one, real quick, is it's basically the street and the cul-de-sac of a community. That's a private owner. It was still owned by a private owner, and he sold it to me.
Nice.
And I was wondering, would that be something, maybe just send letters to the community to see if somebody in the community wanted to purchase it, or should I try and sell it to another private owner? There's no HOA in the
That's
area.
awesome.
I don't think you can lose. I really don't think you can lose by spending 10 or 15 or 20 bucks for really, really logical buyers right in the immediate area.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that was what my gut was telling me.
The HUD, the Department of Housing and Urban Development, federal government. Speaking of the federal government, did a study I don't know. I think I've said it on the show a couple of times. Did a study that said when houses sell, not land, but houses, 60% of the people that buy house that's for sale are like the family or immediate relatives or friends of somebody who lives there within a 1 mile radius of the house. So people that are in the immediate area, they buy real estate.
That makes sense.
What I've done in the past is I look up completed sales and I write a letter that says, hey, I realized you paid X, $75,000 in 2012 for this property. I've got one for sale for $2,000 and it looks kind of similar. Would you be interested?
Yeah, that makes
Dangle
sense.
the carrot that way.
Cool. Well, I just wanted to say thank you. Well, I've got you on the line. By the way, these properties are coming from a gentleman that I got off my very first and only mailer. He is an older investor who's just unloading all of his properties one by one to me. This is these are like the 15th and the 16th properties that he's handed over, and they both were $10.
Oh my God.
He's just giving them away because he's got over 100 properties and he's ready to just sort of move on. So
wow,
it's kept me busy.
Hey, Tom, can we test our beta product on this? Do you have the APN of that island property handy?
If you don't mind waiting about 2 minutes, I can pull it up.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Cool. I'll answer some questions while he's looking that up.
Okay, and I will mute.
Cool. Rodney was saying, which is true. The Google images. Rodney was weighing in on the junk on the property. He said he had one. He said I sent a guy out to check on what I thought was junk, and it had been removed. So, Yep, awesome.
Excellent.
Somebody said, this is good. When there is junk on the property, do you make sure that in the deed that all the stuff on the land is included too?
The personal property, right
Right.
in the personal property.
There you go. You inherited that. I love it. We don't need to. That's good. We can leave that out. All right. This is a good question. Brian asks. The Land Academy package doesn't explicitly recommend or suggest having a separate buy-side website from our sell-side website. Have you heard of any bad experiences from having a single website? It seems like you use our old one, yes, Asset Holding for a buy side, and then Land Pin now for the sell side. Any recommendations? Also, is one of those just DBA?
So this is totally personal preference. I think this day and age, everybody is used to looking up everything. And I think that there are never, the more that I get into this business and more online we become, whether I like it or not, the more a single website makes sense. You know, I think that if you can really establish yourself as, and because it's not going to matter from an acquisition standpoint. The reason that we have had and still have two sites, a buy and a sell site, is that I was under the impression years ago that I would send these letters out and people would open the letter and look us up online and say, well, they're just going to buy my property for $500 and sell it for $3,000. I can do that. Well, it turns out it doesn't faze them at all. They just want to get the heck out of the thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's personal preference. You know, I think that in the end, maybe one site's better because, and it really is personal preference. We have members that have both, and they both report good stuff. And I've never heard anyone report anything bad. Jill, have you?
Mm-mm.
So the buy side site, I think in the end, if somebody opens a letter and it says Land Academy on it, and they go to Land Academy and find out this is like, there's a buzz going on, and everybody's busy, and there's lots of money. I think it's better than a sleepy little site that has basically an input form.
Right. I have heard nothing. That's why I've heard good things more. Because you're right, Brian. If they Google you, they'll find it. If they really want to dig.
Yep.
So that's a really, really, really good question, and I don't think it matters too.
Jill, Texas Trevor has a question.
Yeah. Would you want to do Pat Sing or Tom Sing real quick, and then we'll do Trevor?
Is he back?
Well, maybe not. Go ahead. Yeah, go for it.
All right.
Hey, this is Tom. I put that APN in the chat.
Oh, good.
Got it. Owen County, Indiana. Trevor, I'm going to turn your mic. Trevor, you should be with us. I think you have to turn your mic on, Trevor. It's like an auto tuner.
It is. What we're watching on the screen.
I put.
I don't know if it's working here. Hang on a second.
It's not.
Are you?
Yeah, Trevor, it's not working. It's really funny though. I can't wait to hear the recording of this.
Yes. Thank you. Yes.
If any of you know Trevor, he is type AAA personality.
Okay, hold on.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah. Okay, Indiana. Where everybody can't see this because you're driving. Jack is using our it's going to be much prettier in this, but a format of our finding tool, basically just putting in county, state, and APN. Submit 1,000.
Look at this piece of property.
Already have it. Oh, Tom, I want to buy that.
Tom, you got to buy this. I'm turning.
Dude.
Tom, please turn your mic back on. What the
We're
heck?
looking.
Yeah.
You should run to the bank on this.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Oh no, I own it. I just closed on it. Yeah, we just closed on it today. So this was $10.
Wow. That's gorgeous.
First of all, I know the IT people our IT people are on the call, and they handed me a note and said, "This is a perfect property to test our little thing here."
Mm-hmm.
So my hat's off, IT people. Thank you.
Yeah.
I think they're flipping me off from the other room. Anyway, let's talk about this property. So what's the story? This is fantastic.
Yeah, so he's unloading all the properties in Owen County. Some of them do have back taxes. Some of them don't, but they were all. He just gave them all to me for $10 each. and we just did them all. There were 9 of them, and we just did them all today. This is one.
Jill, remember that one time that guy called us and said, you did business with my dad and he passed away, and we really he said a lot of nice stuff about you guys over the years, and we want to give you all his property.
Yeah, same thing.
So
Love it.
I believe your story, man. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, seriously.
Did you spreadsheet it out? What do you think you're going to make on the whole deal?
Well, there's some I'm not even going to try and sell because the back taxes really are more than what they're worth. So there's about 5 or 6, including this one, that I honestly don't know what to sell this one for, but I'm just going to go for starting at like $1,000 and sell it quickly.
Mm-hmm. I love it.
Yeah.
Wait, $10 times 1,000. What's the?
there's I think 92 people on this call that I bet 45 would pay you $1,000 for this right now.
Exactly.
All kidding aside, I think you're asking too little. I think I'd go a little higher than that.
Well, maybe I'll start a little higher and then go down from there.
Right.
I haven't really done any research in the county. When he told me the price, I figured there's nothing to lose. So I just.
So the Midwest is really working out for you, Tom, right? I think we lost him.
I think so.
Are you still with us, Tom? Tom's a case in point where he took the program and made it work for him in the Midwest, and is pricing it properly and consistently seeing results.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he's not buying, well, although this defies it, but he's not typically buying property for $100 an acre by any stretch.
Exactly. It's so good. Oh, wait, is this Trevor?
Tom, are you with us? No,
yeah, I'm still here. Nope, I'm here. Yeah, I really am focused on a totally different county. I don't really know anything about this Owen County. It just happened to be that this gentleman that I came across on my first mailer has hundreds of properties. He's in his late 80s. His wife is tired of him holding on to all of these properties and wants him to get rid of them. And so he's just slowly, he's passing them to me, and he copies the APN onto a notepad paper, and then he faxes me that notepad paper. And I slowly get him sold.
It's so nice, Tom. That's just how it goes. I mean, the guy clearly likes you. You passed his test. Yeah. Now he is lovingly giving you these, saying, I hope you make some money off him. I wish you well, because he's 80-something and he doesn't need it. Yeah.
Well, I took Jack's advice. I first had a call with Jack, and Jack suggested that I have lunch with him, which I did. And
good.
He prefers, face-to-face stuff. So I met him at the recorders today. So it took us about an hour to get everything processed, but that's how he wants to do business, which I know we're not supposed to always do that, but it's working in this situation.
Cool. Can we get back to the questions here, Jack? And okay, mute everything else.
Hey, Trevor, give it a shot again, bud. Trevor went back to the transformer.
All right. I'm going to jump back into the questions here.
Okay.
It's really hard to hear. Jack's.
I know.
Thank you. All right. He's fixing it. Sorry, gang. Okay. So, we will put a caveat next time. Like, we'd love to have you talk / however.
Yeah.
So we gotta check a few things out. Make sure we can all hear. Okay. All right. So Mike Lee said, I'm closing a large acreage deal with several lots. One of the 10-acre lots is full of junk cars. Here we go. That's the theme. Our theme today. An old mobile home and other trash. How do I address the trash issue? Just take it and make the money on the rest? Or tell the seller I don't want that one, but I'll take the rest. I'm worried about getting fined by the county.
Yeah. I didn't bring that up on the last topic here, but you just, I don't want to be. All right, I'm going to say that here's the transparent, honest truth. The reason that you form an LLC in situations like this is because there might be toxic stuff. But I'll tell you, in real estate, there's only one or two things that pierce the veil, the corporate veil, so to speak, in attorney speak, meaning you don't get protected from these entities. These LLCs that we form can't protect you. And one of the things is environmental issues. So if it's crossing the environmental line, like there's an oil spill, or if there was a gas station on it, and I don't want to scare anybody. This in all the years we've been doing this, I think I passed on 2 properties because of this environmental stuff, 2 or 3. I can hold it in one hand anyway, but you just have to be careful about that. You can be criminally prosecuted even if you didn't put the stuff there, or even if it didn't happen while you were owned it. It happened before or happened after. You're still on the chain of title there. You got to be careful. So I have to say that, Jill. I know that you don't like when I say negative stuff, but
No,
that's
you're
the
right.
truth.
It's
A mobile home and a bunch of old cars, you're fine.
Mm-hmm.
So that trash and stuff like this has never stopped. Believe me, people like this.
Mm-hmm.
People would rather buy a lot. Should you pass on it to answer the question? I don't think so.
Mm-hmm.
And call the county. I had a bunch of properties in Oklahoma. I got fined a ton for this, which we dealt with. But just call the county and see if they're the kind of ticket issuing trash people.
They may not even know what's going on.
9 times out of 10, I think
And
it's a positive thing.
Worried.
Maybe
So,
10
yeah.
times out of 10.
Oh, cool. All right. I love this, by the way. I have to make a little comment that this is so cool. I did not know this. Jean put in here that Johnny Depp once bought his mother an island for her birthday.
Not for $1,000.
You can provide that same service for your sellers. Buy someone their own island. I think, hey, this could be a great graduation gift for some kid, or for your wife if you forget something. Tom, give her an island.
You have to really wonder why a man would put his wife or his mother on an island by herself and, isolate her from everything.
There is that.
Isn't there a couple of psychiatrists, psychologists in this group? I don't think that's healthy.
So
just joking.
So I know. Okay, Rodney, I'm watching the watch. We have about 15 more minutes, so we're good. You said in the past, easements cannot be denied in Arizona. In my situation, all the parcels are boundary to boundary, no space in between like I've seen in other areas. Your comments? Would I need a survey to blade a road if I wanted to? I know in Arizona, well, there's a couple things. Can I wait? I'm going to wait one way. I'm going to give you one way from the real estate school and all the classes that I took that I did not act on. But what's nice is one of the things is if you're using this road, and I want to say, for some reason, 9 years is sticking in my head, and I might be wrong, but there's a period of time where if I'm walking, and I could be walking a crazy path through your property, but if I'm doing it, for 5 or 9, whatever the real number is, years, and you've never said anything, that's my easement. Congratulations. So,
yes, like easement by something. You're right, Joe.
Yeah, there's different legal things.
By determinant or something. I know that's not right, but it's something like that.
Exactly. I have to look that up. So, and then the other way is you have to go to them and they have to create one if you need to, and they will make it a certain way, but that's done through the county, and you have to do some legal stuff. So, what do you want to add?
That's it.
Okay.
No, you covered it.
Okay. Thank you. So that's one of the reasons, I tell you, if you got 60 hours to kill, but seriously, it's not crazy to go sit through some of this stuff. It's pretty interesting, the things that you learn, even about your state, and what really goes on. So good stuff. All right. Luke asks, ever see in title history a property getting deeded to 2 different people? One of the deeds was dated first, but recorded like 5 years after the other deed was recorded.
Yeah.
Who owns it? First deed recorded or the first deed dated?
This is like this is philosophical.
I know.
Do you know that? And this is the truth. I think Jill and I, we've talked about this before. You do not have to record a deed for it to be valid.
Mm-hmm.
In the Wild West times, there was no recording. Mm-hmm. It was just, there was a deed and it was 2 signatures and it wasn't recorded. Mm-hmm. So it's who did it, it's chronological. Mm-hmm. But good luck for your, Go
The
ahead.
dated, sorry, by the deed dated, not recorded.
That's right, but good luck fighting that. All that is when there's these issues, Luke, is that you need to get title, and the title's going to tell you. They're going to say they're going to give you a yellow light. They're not going to give you a green light.
Mm-hmm.
Any of these issues, any title company would not insure against them. They would put them in the Schedule B exceptions. Go ahead, Joe.
So here's what I'm willing to bet. If you really dig deeper, this is a good example of the recorder just doing what they're told. The recorder could have one deed today selling the property to Bob Smith, and then a week later selling the same property to Carol Jones. It doesn't matter. They'll just record them and send them through, send them on. But the assessor will go, all right, the first one, got it, done. And the other one, even though it was recorded, doesn't make it legitimate, if you will. So that other one will get kicked back like it's already sold.
Right.
So there you go.
We're going to have to kind of get through we've got several questions to answer, so get through.
Can we whip through these?
Yeah.
I can. Okay.
I can too, yeah.
Okay. So this is somebody you talked to today. I got a TJ Cincy, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Earlier today, I spoke to Jack. Hey, I'm glad you're on the call. And decided to join Land Academy. Awesome. Oh, I completed the membership. Great. And I would like to know how long it would take to receive my Oh, you know what? Go.
Yeah. So this guy sent me a extremely well thought out email last night late, which I responded to. And, he said, look, I'm doing all the research on all of this, and my wife and I are going to take this seriously. And I said, and I have a bunch of questions. So I answered him. And then this morning I woke up to, by the way, I wake up extremely early, and then there is a novel like length of even more intelligent questions. So I said, you know what? I never do this, Jill. You know this.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to call you. I'm going to call you in 30 minutes if you're available. He said yes. So we had a great, fantastic. He's a financial analyst for an extremely large company. And Jill, how we always say there's a skill set that's really right for a group.
Mm-hmm.
This is it.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, listen, honestly, I think I probably could teach you some stuff about Excel. And I love that. He said that almost quote unquote.
I love it. I love it.
Welcome to the group. He's got the right attitude. He's got some saved up money. Him and his wife are making the decisions together.
Good.
I gave him some money off his, and I know he's going to do very, very well. So welcome, man.
I just looked it up. Hi, Tony. We're glad to have you. Jack did tell me all that stuff. I was in the car, and Jack relayed your call today to me. That's really, really cool.
The program, to answer your question directly, the program will ship today,
Mm-hmm.
and you should have it. I think he's in the Midwest, maybe 2 days ish, maybe 3. But I'll get an email out to you today for sure, so you can get access to the data and all that stuff and start horsing around with that.
Yeah, and you should get tracking information when it ships. You can kind of watch it. So
right.
Awesome. All right, Steve Downs says, other than a survey company, are there other options for boundary marking?
Oh, there's new technology for all this stuff. Really, it's not so much are there other options for boundary marking, it's what the county's going to accept if you're splitting property. Because unless you're trying to survey something for another reason, which I don't, the only reason I've ever surveyed anything is because the county made me do it to parcel split.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, parcelsplit.com. That's one of our new companies.
I'm like, do you have that one? Okay.
Yeah, I do.
Okay, good. Good. All right. I'm not whipping through, but I'm trying to get through as many as we can here.
To answer that question again, there are 21st century technology ways with satellites and stuff where you can get real accurate, but the county is way behind on accepting that stuff.
Got it. Chuck says, how careful should we be when we put APN numbers on a deed? Pretty darn careful. Okay, and we can, and you don't have to put them on there, but so hold on a second. When you put an APN number on a deed, which can take on various forms on county records, Title Pro 24/7, etc., such as a very long number or the county APN / account number, right? They do have account numbers. They have different things like that too. For example, I just created a new multi-parcel deed with 5 long APNs, which can span across the whole document. You know what? You want to answer that? You want me?
No, you go ahead, Joe. We're going to say the same thing.
You don't have to put the APN on there. You can leave it blank and just put in the, which some people think that's the best way. We just include it in Deed Perfect, but you could leave it blank because it's really just a legal description.
That's exactly right. I mean, the only reason that I've ever done it, um, and I think Jill, we go back and forth on this, or I do. It's
Mhm.
just to, when you own 5 million lots in one subdivision or one area, you can get them jumbled up. So we put the APN on there just to make sure that for the recorder, if not anybody else.
Mhm.
So,
Exactly.
yeah.
Pam asks, what's the best verbiage to put in your marketing piece, or does that really matter? Are there certain bullet points to mention? I'm wondering if you mean, I'm wondering, Pam, are you asking to put on the cover letter to the offer about, or marketing in your property? Because I have different answers to both.
Yeah, so I'm guessing, Jill, let's answer it like it's the mailer itself. And
Okay.
the shorter answer is there's an example of the mailer in the program. If you don't have the program, go out and Success Plan and ask some of the people there. But what you need to have is the price and a time frame and the basic stuff.
Mm-hmm.
What you don't want to do, and I talked to Tony about this, is send a letter of interest. Hey, I'm interested in buying your property. You're just going to get a massive amount of phone calls, and you're going to get flooded. You want to put a
Mm-hmm.
price and a time and the whole thing.
And weed them out.
Yeah.
Just get the people that who want to play, or not play, but you know what I mean. The people who are really serious and want to, and where you're coming from. So very good. Okay. IK asks about RailQuest. I was trying to pull a list today and realize that it's actually more than the 5 cents. I don't know where the 5 cents comes up, because it's that's not correct. But I was wondering if there's a way to avoid making that payment. That's the cost.
There is. Hold on. I'll answer this. IK, there's absolutely a way. I'm going to help you avoid making these payments. I would like you to email me at jack@landacademy.com. You and I are going to work it out together. Next question.
Okay. Is that our way of just passing on that?
We'll work it out. He and I are going to work it out personally.
Okay. This is something
This
else
isn't the
going
first IK problem.
Okay, got it. Can we just use the account numbers? You know what? I'd just leave all that off, honestly. If we're on the deed, I'm assuming that's what we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I wouldn't. But you just put in the APN. I wouldn't put in the owner account number and all that, because I'm not sure if that's the same as the. I think that might have some different meanings to the county, because there still will be an assessor's parcel number. So,
Yeah.
Okay. Kyler said, the county I'm working in doesn't have very much information available on Title Pro or RailQuest. How should I go about doing a lien search? Oh, this is coming. How much does that cost? Ballpark.
Yeah.
This is good. It's coming.
Yeah, so we're within weeks of really building a lien report. This is a great question. We get it a lot. This is a PhD level question. Liens, which Jill and I never talk about too much. Checking lien, whether the property's got any liens associated with it. Could be IRS liens, or all kinds of liens that could be associated with the property, and they typically don't show up in these rural vacant properties like this. But we found out through a product in CoreLogic that we bundle it up with the product that's on the screen right now. With this product, see this data over here? There's a huge long data set in some of its liens. So we will be addressing this very, very soon, and it'll be part of it'll be part of probably the gold level membership.
Mm-hmm.
It's really cool, actually.
Okay.
We high five each other all day right now from an IT standpoint about the stuff that's coming. It is so cool and so simple to use.
I'm going to whip through just a few more questions. I'll go to like 5 after, and then I'm going to talk about gold level and Joe Live real quick.
Yeah.
Is that okay, Jack? So we'll just do a few more minutes, and if I don't,
I'm okay.
Everybody's.
I'll hang out.
Well, we'll get just a few more, but if we don't get to everybody's, you know where to find us. So, and you know how to use Success Plan. So cool. All right. Brian asked for a single mailer. This is good. I love this. Does it make sense for larger acreages to set up a spreadsheet to pay a certain price amount per acre? The total will populate. You are singing to Jack, Brian. The total will populate based on the amount of acres to what you want to pay and show up in the spreadsheet and the amount you want to pay total, transferring to the mailer. I asked this because it looks like acreages over 26 and up, say 100, let's say 100, the prices are similar per acre. Jack?
Yeah, so here's the thing, and I just had a very great, really interesting call with some super bright guys in the southern part of the country that are members, and they're sending out an intense southeastern part of the country mailer on this whole thing, and they asked basically the same question. So when looking at completed sales or comps or pricing anything, it's really important to not just look at price per acre, but like kind acreage price per acre. So you can look at all of the 5-acre properties in one APN scheme, and that's apples to apples. But if you look at the average price per acre for 5-acre properties to 240-acre properties, it's really, really, you're not doing yourself any favors. You're making it tough. So, the 240-acre property is going to be, the price per acre is very, very low. The one that's really high, it's the smaller you get. Like think of a 0.08 acre property, the price per acre is going to be 10, 15 grand, even in the product type that we're in. So you got to be real careful with that. And the more that you can divide it up and look at it that way, the better.
Mm-hmm.
That's as far as I can go into it in the scope of what we're doing here at 303 or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Does that answer it, Jill?
No, it's good. Yeah.
Okay.
We'll just yes or no, Jack, real quick, the 1099 to sellers?
Yes.
Rodney asks. Thank you. And there's companies that'll do that for you, so you don't have to get all technical on
And
that.
software.
Exactly. Joe asked, do you tell every buyer that they are not getting title insurance? This is a good question. This is a great question, Joe. I like this question. I had one come back to me and say they can't sell with a loan due to the property bought at a tax sale.
Mm-hmm.
They have an attorney. Why can't they file for quiet title?
Yeah, this comes up a lot. And I would absolutely, yes, I have personal opinion about this, but back tax property and properties that have been quiet titled for whatever reason, and I think it's truly ironic, they're not title insurance worthy in the eyes of large insurance companies. So even though I think they're some of the safest properties you can buy, so that's an issue, and yes, you need to really disclose all of that completely.
Thank you.
Or you can make it your niche and develop some canned speeches about it, really learn about it, and that could work really to your benefit.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. All right. Luke asks, how do you rationalize the LLC?
Wait, you missed a question.
They just said pick me about stuff that we have coming up.
No, I think she was like, all right, Kathleen was like, pick me about. Oh, really? Is that what that was?
Yeah, I think it was stuff.
So I just saw a question, and that's all right, Jill, because you're trying to get to the end about this tool that's on the screen, and when can we get it? By the end of the month. We'll be releasing it by the end of the month.
For gold.
You're going to talk about that in a minute.
I am. Okay, I'm going to whip through these last 5 and then we'll cover our gold stuff. All right. How do you rationalize, Luke said, how do you rationalize the LLC veil protection when you operate in multiple states? Some say you should pay each state to get covered in that state. Do you buy into that kind of logic or put something in your contracts to revert back to the state courts of your LLC? I'll leave it to you.
I can't. You know what? I have an opinion about this, but I'm not qualified to answer it, so I'm not going to.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that I'm pretty sure I'm right. I know how we operate, but some stuff is changing about LLCs and state tax collections and things like that. So I'm not up to date on it. So I don't want to steer anybody in the wrong direction.
Cool. Thank you. And that's fair.
Mm-hmm.
Luke also asks, how do you market split land or land to be split? Any different than others? I'm thinking more knowledgeable buyers might scratch their heads.
We don't market it any differently.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you certainly don't want to market it and say, well, hey, it's in the process of being split. I think that you just should say, how Luke, you've been through this before, how the letters are usually added to the end of an APN scheme when it's split. You could just say parcel number 101-11-111A, B, C, and D. And I think that you're going to be fine. It's not like you're misrepresenting anything. And if it's not done, you're not going to convey it anyway. That's how you roll. So I think it's market. If you're splitting a 40 into 4 10s, then mark it all 4 10s. Perfect. Don't you think, Jill?
Mm-hmm. No, I love it. None of that bothers me. None of that scares me. The knowledgeable buyers, I think, are, for me, they're like, oh, we know. Got it. Done. So I think it's cool. Trevor wants to know about, did we ever tell?
I
We didn't.
told Trevor about this on a call.
Oh, did you tell him who it was?
No.
Oh, okay.
It's going fantastic, man.
Okay.
It's going
Okay.
fantastic. Well,
Okay.
we should talk off the air, and I'll share the whole thing with you.
No, it's funny because we were actually, Jack and I were joking about, there's one individual in particular that half approached us about this whole thing, and we were thinking of bringing her to our live event, and then we keep looking at each other going, that's not what this is all about. But
Yeah.
it's we'll share it with you guys at some point. But it's funny.
She's famous.
Yeah. So
She's crazy.
she's good nuts. She's smart
Yeah.
nuts. So kind of like this next lady, Kathleen.
I was hoping Kathleen would pipe in on
I know. I
we'll
love
pipe in on this. Put your
Kathleen.
mom on buy your mom an island and stick her on there.
Exactly.
She's a psychologist.
Exactly. Kathleen said, is it possible in general to parcel split a 40-acre parcel into smaller lots? Or is it, no, it's not Jane Fonda, but that's good. Or is it parcel splitting, or is parcel splitting typically done with larger tracts? In a certain county, one could split a parcel as long as you're splitting it up into less than 5 or 6 parcels. Yep. Splitting into more parcels would be considered subdividing. Yep.
That's right.
Yep.
I don't even see a question there. She's got it all
I
figured
know.
out.
I think she just answered it. Yeah. Remember when we did that 40-acre example too that you did? That was 6 or 8 months ago, Jack, and you did a whole big thing for us, and you had it on the screen, and you capped it at 6. You did like a 20 and a couple of 10s. I don't remember how you did it.
It's technically 5.
Okay, there you go.
For some reason, I do know why, but it doesn't matter. 5. If you can cut a property up in 5 acres or 5 parcels, and you can do it by rewriting the description, the northeast quarter, the southeast quarter, which is just, I do it in detail with Jill. What Jill referred to. So, yeah.
Yeah, in detail, he makes me listen to it and watch. Kidding. No, Chuck. Chuck, if you figure this out, I want in. Is it tough in your experience to have the treasury reduce back taxes? I have 6 parcels which are behind about 3 or 4 years, and my answer is yes. It is tough. So now HOA stuff, totally different ball game. So if you have 6 parcels that are way behind that many years in HOA fees and back taxes, you have a better chance with the HOA than you do with the back taxes. Because there's legal reasons and all that good stuff, but they can't justify why they did it for your properties and not the whole county and everybody that way. It's just
right.
State mandated stuff. My attorney suggested, Tim says, thank you for sharing this, Tim. My attorney suggested that we get a liability policy. Do you agree?
I completely agree with your attorney. That's what Jill and I have, a pretty hefty one. The same kind of policy that any company would get, whether you sell stuff on Amazon or whether you own a liquor store. You need a general liability policy that just basically covers all that stuff that you do.
Mm-hmm.
Errors and omissions and all that.
And Kathleen apparently loves the island idea, like put a relative on an island. Hey, Mom, guess what we bought you?
I brought you an island.
Happy
That's how
Mother's
special
Day.
You are.
Okay.
You know what, Jill?
Yeah.
Your mom and my dad should go live on an island together.
Oh my gosh.
And my money's on your mom.
You know what?
She would survive longer.
I am going to buy that island from Tom and I'm giving it to my mom. Tom, you have a buyer.
Maybe we would parachute your brother in there too.
I was waiting for that one. I love it. Oh, good. We're going to wrap it up with these. Thank you, Kathleen. Highly recommended from her effective treatment. Anwar says, so when's the wholesale houses program coming out? You want to wrap up with that, Jack, and then I'll do my thing? Okay.
We'll wrap up with that. Anwar, by the way, is not new to owning companies, but new to this business. I had a call with him this week, and this kid knocked it out of the park in one county. He hit it he gets the 80-year-old man version of, I've got 1,000 lots in the pretty much going to give them away. So congratulations on that, man. The wholesale houses program is scheduled to be filmed in fourth quarter of 2017. So realistically, and that's when all the land products are done, and there's a bunch of them. So it'll probably be released. 2018 is slated to be all the land stuff's done. In 2018, we're going to work on wholesaling houses. So that's the schedule anyway.
So, just a quick question, Jack. Is sleep anywhere in there?
I know. Why are we doing this, Jill? We're kooks.
Isn't there sleep
you know
in there
what?
somewhere?
It's a blast.
I know. I'm just kidding. It is all good. So,
You're
all
right.
right. So here's my thing. All right. Who? You don't have to raise your hands here. You can send it to me. I was going to say by show of hands, but I'm going to have you by a show of emails, and I'm going to put this in the newsletter. I want to know who's ready for gold, because I'm going to select some people who are in a position to take this to the next level, because I want to get some early adapters for Jill Live. I'm getting close to flipping on the phone part first, and we're working on outbound calls as well. So this, for the initial phase, I'll tell you right now, phase 1 is inbound calls. So as your mailers go out, Jill Live will get your inbound calls. They'll weed out all the junk, and they'll set up appointments if you like, or at least get all the information and let the people know, yep, they're serious and they'd love to have a call from you, during your window, and all that good stuff. So phase 2, I want to roll in notary stuff, which is going to be like Jill Live people will set up notaries for you. You can give us just the information and we'll do the work, and we'll put the two people together and make sure it all gets done, and we could eventually do the recording and all that too. So, and then phase 3 is going to be calls from sellers, and that might even come sooner, because that's not crazy, where we might have, I'm working on having for LandPin inbound seller phone calls and answer the questions for you, because thanks to LandPin and the structure, pretty much everything that needs to be about the property is there. So that will free you up from answering 16 phone calls when it's right there. My team can answer those calls and weed out the tire kickers, so you don't have to waste your time on those. And for the right people, maybe spend a few minutes on them and then direct them to where they check out.
Well said, Jill. These
Thank you.
these membership levels are designed to help you not have a staff. So and they're all priced at less than half of what you would cost, way less than half, or less than the cost of doing the number of transactions that they're designed if you have to bring on staff and VAs and manage all that stuff. So that's how we price it, and they're subject to change. We're not going to release gold at that per month number. It'll be less.
It'll be less than that, but
still a hell of a deal.
That's right. So don't worry about that number. I only want to know that you're doing that many transactions, that you're ready, that, hey, I could really use some phone help, kind of thing. And I'm paying big bucks over here with, X company. And thank you, by the way, for everyone who did that survey for me. That was so darn helpful. And I really got some great information out of that to move forward. So that was perfect. And I did hear, I'll tell everybody, the number one thing everybody said was phones. And the number 2 thing was posting property. So those are Jill Live's biggest things. So I'm working
really think about that. If you don't have to answer your phone and you don't have to post any property, I mean, think about how many deals you could do. Those are the 2 big bottlenecks. We know that because we do it. We have staff that handles it for us now, but man, it'd be great.
Exactly. Okay, so please send me an email, jill@landacademy.com, if you, or even if you don't have to be right there that you're getting 50 calls a week, but, you're like, hey, I'm on the fence here. I want to, or even I just think would like to be in Jill Live, because I'm going to work on an a la carte version too. So send me a message, and I'm going to pick a handful to be my early adapters, and we'll go from there.
Good work, Jill.
Thank you.
I wasn't real hot on this whole Joe Live thing, and man, everybody else loves it. So
Thank you.
great work.
Thank you.
And Steve Downs is ready. That's
Yeah.
what he said there.
Awesome.
Thanks, everyone. We will be here at the same time with the same software for once next week, 3 o'clock on Thursday. Thanks.
Thanks. Bye.